Hey, hi, hello. Uh, Excuse my appearance. Actually, I just don't have makeup on. I don't know why I'm saying excuse my appearance. You can handle it, I'm sure. Um, I'm going to be reading the first chapters of all of the remaining books on my September TBR to decide which book I want to read next. So, I it is September 10th. I have completed 4 books on my TBR so far, which is amazing. I've completed 5 books total. So, the only book on my TBR that I'm not going to be reading the first chapter of that I haven't finished yet is Dreadful, because I've already read the first chapter. I'm like probably a little over a third of the way through. I'm actually considering DNFing this book because it's just not good so far. It's actually really boring. I am over a third of the way through. I'm pretty close to being halfway through, honestly, and like really nothing's happened. So this book is about an evil sorcerer who loses his memory because he makes a deal with like a demon that he summons or something. And all he knows when he wakes up from his little accidenty poo with his amnesia is, well, he doesn't know anything. But throughout the day and the next couple days, he does kind of figure things out. He figures out that there is some kind of plot that he is involved with that involves the fact that he kidnapped the princess. He doesn't know why he kidnapped the princess. He doesn't know what it's for. All he knows is there's a scary guy who told him to kidnap the princess, and yeah. So he's an evil sorcerer, but since he got amnesia, he's trying to be good because he doesn't really know, he doesn't really have, like, he doesn't really want to be bad. And so he's like being nice to the princess, and the princess is suspicious of it, and he's like wondering to himself constantly about like, what could his past self possibly have been like? Why was he evil? What led him to make these choices? Is it so bad that he wants to be good now? And then I don't know. There's just a lot of like internal him thinking about being evil versus good. And like that's probably 80% of what I've read so far is just him thinking about that and trying to make decisions based on being good, but then also like when I'm sorry I'm saying like a lot. It's just this it's just really boring. So far all that's happened is he resummoned the demon, and the princess was clever enough to get the demon to go away, and this is like not spoilers at all because literally nothing's happened in the book. And he turned a royal emissary into a chicken. Other than that, the entire book has been his internal monologue, and like his internal monologue about him being good now versus being evil back when he can't remember being evil, and then also about him thinking about the fact that the only people that work for him pretty much are goblins and how gross and weird the goblins are. That's it. That's all that's happened. It takes a lot for me to DNF a book. I don't think I ever have, honestly. There was a book that I read last year or the year before. I think it was called Desperate Measures by Katie something. That book is awful. The book was so bad. I didn't like a single minute of that book. And I didn't DNF it. I finished the whole thing. I hated, oh my gosh, there's a few books where I hated the entire experience of reading them, but I read them anyway. It takes a lot for me to want to give up on a book. And I think I'm almost there with this one. But anyway, that was a long, I don't even know if I'm going to keep that in the video. That was just a whole lot of nonsense. Has nothing to do with this video. Anyway, the books that I have left are, can you even see all of them? And they're falling, of course. So, Through the Dark. They're not going to stay up. Okay. Let's do this. Is that going to fall again? Oh my god. Okay. Through the Dark by Alexandra Bracken. Skene Island by Elia Whitley. Or Whitley. I'm not sure. Zodiac Academy, The Awakening by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. Lightlark by Alex Astor. Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Morena Garcia. And of course they are all falling. Pure Nessie by Susanna Clark. The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. And let's let that down gently. And the final one is Bridgerton, The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 books that I need to read the first chapter of and then pick what I'm going to read. Just by looking at these, I am thinking I'm probably going to end up going with either this is just my predictions because I'm not going to randomly pick. I am really just going to pick based on the most interesting first chapter. I think I'm either going to end up going with the Mexican Gothic, not the Mexican Gothic, just Mexican Gothic, or maybe Lightlark. I don't know. We will see. I'm actually going to go take a shower right now because I worked out, drank my coffee, so now it's shower time. And then I will get to reading the first chapters. I'm going to put all of these back though. If I can. If they'll let me. And then, hopefully, honestly, best case scenario is every single first chapter is incredible and I still have a hard time picking. Because then that would mean that they're all going to be enjoyable. Honestly, it's a double-edged sword. I don't know. I think I've gotten to a point where I have finished all of my I think those are the 4 that I finished were my automatic roll-ins. So I have 1 automatic roll-in left, which is Dreadful, which I might end up DNFing. I don't know. But all of the rest are the ones that I rolled, like the random number generator thing I did. That's what I have left. That's so funny that I just read all of my automatic roll-ins first. I didn't even, that wasn't intentional. It just happened. So that's kind of funny. Anyway, I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, we're going to start with Pure Nessie. This one doesn't have chapters. This one has parts. But the first part is, I think, only 18 pages. So we're going to start there. Let's see. And part 1 is just called Pure Nessie. Okay. So I finished the first chapter of Pure Nessie. Well, part 1 of Pure Nessie. So I'm so tired right now. I was struggle bussing my way through part 1 and like having to force myself to keep my eyes open and read. And it has nothing to do with the book. It does not mean that the book was boring. I'm just exhausted right now. But this book is about a person. We don't know their name. However, in this world, the entire world is basically encompassed in a house that is like never ending. So the main character says that he thinks that he's like in his 30s. Where is it? So there's he gives a description of every person that he knows for sure has ever lived, and that's only 15 people. So let's see. He starts with himself. He says he's between 30 and 35 years of age. He doesn't know exactly how old he is. And the only other person alive in the world or the house is an older man. He estimates between 50 and 60, who calls him Pure Nessie. The old man calls him Pure Nessie, but he knows that's not his name, but he doesn't know what his name is. It's just, it seems like they don't know anything about the world really. And it doesn't seem like they know why they're there or how they got there. They only know of 15 people who have ever lived, and the only reason they know that they lived is because they have the skeletal remains for them. But inside this house, there's an ocean, there's multiple oceans, there's never-ending hallways going in like every direction. Him and this other man only meet twice a week. I think it said Tuesdays and Thursdays. They meet for exactly 1 hour at a very specific time to talk about their findings, because they are both on this search for this hidden knowledge that the older man is like absolutely certain exists. And he's got like 6 or 7 possibilities that he thinks like what the knowledge could be. And they're all like fantastical things, kind of like, it'll give us the ability to read minds. It'll give us the ability to control other creatures and stuff like that. He doesn't know for sure. He's just guessing. And that's what they spend all their time doing, basically, is searching for this hidden knowledge and exploring the world. And it seems like the only food sources that they know of, the only place where like other creatures live and plants grow, is in the oceans. And then the first part ends with him finding a leaf, like from a tree, like a land tree. He doesn't think it's a sea plant, but he finds a leaf. And that is that. I actually find it really interesting. It's just, I feel like it's such an interesting concept. So this is a contender. And it's not too long, so that would be great. There are, how many parts in here? Come on. There's 7 parts in here. So that's a contender. Which one to read next? I think I'm just gonna go in order here. Just make it easy. So next I'm going to read the first chapter of The Shadows Between Us. I don't think I'm gonna read it right now though, because I am so tired. I need to go do something to wake myself up because I don't have time for a nap. But I'm also really tired. And if I sit here and read, I will fall asleep no matter how interesting it is, because I actually found this genuinely so interesting and fascinating, especially the way that it was written. It's written as a journal entry from the main character, and it like breaks the fourth wall where he like addresses you as the reader. So I think it was just really interesting, the content and the writing style. But I'm dying. So we're going to save this first chapter for probably later today. Let me see how long the first chapter is, though. Chapter 3. Oh, looks like the chapters are pretty short. The first chapter is so short. Oh my gosh. The first chapter is 6.5 pages. Should I do it anyway? No. Okay. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And then after this, I am probably going to like put on some makeup, because I think that will help me feel awake. More like I will feel like I have to stay awake. Do you know what I mean? Also, I'm starting to get a headache, so I don't know what's going on. This is just so fun so far. Also, I'm like crouching down because this angle is not cute. And I have you propped up on a pillow. Like, you can see the orange of my pillow. But you know, we're doing what we gotta do. So, chapter 1 of The Shadows Between Us. Whew. Well, I read chapter 1, and although it was very short, like very, very short, like 6 pages, this isn't supposed to be funny, but like, this is kind of hilarious. Okay, so the main character is a young woman who has many, many, many bedroom partners. Pretty much, she gets men to become obsessed with her, fall in love with her, give her lots of expensive gifts, and then propose to her, and then she dumps them and moves on to the next one. And she has been just like collecting these expensive gifts and engagement rings from these men because her father is bankrupt, so he can't afford to pay her way. But she wants, or like, her game plan is to get the king to fall in love with her, and in order to do that, she's got to buy a bunch of new dresses, and she's got to be able to pay her way and everything. But she's gonna go to the palace, get the king to fall in love with her, or so is her plan, and propose to her, and then she'll marry him, and then she'll murder him, and she'll take over the kingdom. But the book starts with her talking about how she killed her ex-boyfriend and buried him, and she was like having a dream about him. So, because he turned her down. So like, she was in love with her boyfriend and he left her for another woman. She murdered him gleefully. And since then, she's just had like a parade of men that she doesn't care about. It's kind of hilarious. Just like how nonchalant she is about the fact that she like killed her ex, and she's just been like sleeping around to get money and expensive presents for money to pay her way to the castle so she can murder the king. I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny. It has potential. It has potential. I'm in a fantasy mood. This is like magical realism, I think. And I don't know that I'm in the mood for that. I think I'm in the mood for fantasy. So this, I think this counts as fantasy. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I think maybe this is the top contender right now out of the two. So, next is The Duke and I. Let's see how short. Oh, there's a prologue here. Maybe the prologue will count. Maybe I'll read the prologue instead of the first chapter. I don't really want to read the prologue and the first chapter. I feel like that'll be a lot. How long is the first chapter? Okay. The prologue and the first chapter are about the same length, but I think I'll just read the prologue. Should I read the prologue? I'm not gonna make them. That didn't take me nearly as long. Well, it was only 6 pages, so it didn't take me very long to read that. Maybe I'll read the so it's 9:39. I want to start my makeup around 10. So I'm going to read the prologue right now. I'm still kind of tired, but I feel like I'm waking up a bit, so it should be fine. Prologue done. The prologue was just the so I have watched the show BT Dubs. The first, I mean, there's only 3 seasons out right now, right? Yeah, I don't think the 4th season's come out yet. I've watched the first 3 seasons. I keep saying first. I don't know why. I watched all 3 seasons of the show, but to my understanding, the show is quite a bit different from the books. So I am interested. I want to read the books. I want to read the books. I don't know where I was going with that. The first chapter, it's not even the first chapter. God, why can I not? I can't get a hold of my brain right now. He's not answering the phone call. The prologue. The prologue was about Simon's childhood and him being horribly rejected by his father. That's the prologue. So, I honestly think I want to read the books, but because I know what happens, even if it is a little bit different than how the show does it, it's still going to be the same, like, bones of the story, you know what I mean? So I don't think that this is a contender right now. I think I want to read a few of the other books on my TBR before I get to this one. But I know I want to read the first 3 books in the series because I want to read the ones after it, the ones that I haven't seen, like, shows of. So I really need to push myself to read this book this month so that I can get to that point. You know what I mean? Okay, it's 9:58, so I'm not going to be reading the first chapter of the next one yet. I'm going to do my makeup. I'll probably read it after lunch. Or, I don't know, at some point today. But, yeah. Excuse me. Let's see how long this is. How long the first chapter is. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. I really like that they all have, like, the chapters start with, that's upside down, but they start with those. I like that. Are these Okay, so this looks like multiple POVs. Darcy and Tori. So we're starting with Darcy. Let's see how many pages this is. Okay. So that's not too long. What page is this even starting on? Whoa, my stomach is growling. So it starts on page 7. So the first chapter is only 7 pages. Wow, these chapters are short. Okay. So it's only 7 pages. I'm not going to read it right now, though. I'm going to put these, like, back on the shelf in order of how, like, in ranking order. You know what I mean? So far, this is the order we've got going on. The Shadows Between Us. You know what? I was planning on doing this to choose my next read, but maybe I'll just keep them on my little shelf in the order of, like, of interest. You know what I mean? In the order that I'm interested in them, the amount that I'm interested in them. I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. Maybe I'll just keep them on my shelf in that order, and then I'll pull to read them in that order. It may or may not actually work out that way because, like I said, I really want to make sure I get to this one this month because I want to kind of push myself through the first 3 so that I can get to the ones that I don't know what's going to happen in them. But so far, the order of the ones we've read. The Shadow Between Us is in first place. So far, I'm looking to read that one. Next is Piranesi. Then The Duke and I. Which, I mean, not an impressive lineup considering I've only read the first chapters of 3 books so far. But those are going there. Let's stick that one in there real quick. Also, I have made a final decision on Dreadful. I'm going to DNF this because I was thinking about it while I was taking a shower. Do you guys, like, shower is thinking time. I feel like I always do one of 2 things while I'm showering with my brain. Either I am, like, running through scenarios either that have already happened or my brain tells me could potentially happen, or, like, conversations that I feel like, I don't know, like, a topic pops into my head and then my brain starts, like, having a conversation with a person that doesn't exist. A conversation that never has happened and probably never will happen, but I start having those conversations in my head. Because apparently I'm crazy. Or I have thoughts. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, my shower thought of the day was I realized that I'm going to DNF Dreadful because I was thinking I'm almost halfway through. I don't care about this story at all. I don't care about any of the characters. It's boring. I'm not enjoying it. And at the end of the day, if I never pick this up again, at the point that I'm at now, I don't care. Like, it's not going to break my heart if I never finish this book. So, I think it's better just to DNF it. I honestly... I'm just so not a DNFer that I don't even know what to do with this book now. I don't know if I should keep it in case one day I decide I want to try and finish it, or if I should just, like, take it to a free little library and deposit it in there. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with the book yet. It's pretty, though. Like, it's pretty. The cover is really pretty, but the contents inside are putting me to sleep. So we're DNFing that. And then next time you guys see me in, like, approximately 0.2 seconds, I'll be reading the first chapter of Zodiac Academy. That's what it's called, right? Sure. Yeah. So I'll see you then. Okay. We're going to start on the Zodiac Academy now. I don't actually know what this is about, except for I'm pretty sure it's about vampires. Yeah, it says, welcome to Zodiac Academy. Note to all students, vampire bites, loss of limbs, or getting lost in the Wailing Woods will not count as a valid excuse for being late to class. So, Chapter 1. Okay, chapter 1, done. The first chapter of this book doesn't really give me much to go on. There are 2 sisters, I think. Are they supposed to be twins? I think they're supposed to be twins. I don't remember if it actually said they were. I mean, it implied they were. It said they look pretty much identical, so I think they're supposed to be twins. They're twins. They're in the foster care system. They just aged out, and the person that was caring for them kicked them out the day before their 18th birthday. So one of them went back, broke into the house to steal back their secret stash of cash so they could survive on it. That's all I got from that. So that didn't really give me anything to go on as far as like deciding whether or not I'm going to enjoy the book. So I'm actually going to put this one behind Bridgerton, because for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to choose this one, but I also know I'm not going to choose Bridgerton. But because I want to also kind of put them in an order of when I want to read them, sort of based on my interest in them, but also kind of sort of based on other factors, apparently, now. This is going to get put behind Bridgerton because I feel like, based on the first chapter, I don't have any information as to whether or not I'm going to like this more or less than Bridgerton. And I know that I want to read Bridgerton for sure this month. So this is going behind it. That's enough of that. The next book. And of course they're falling. The next book is Skein Island by Elia Whiteley. I'm not sure. I don't actually know what this is about. I don't remember. But let's see. Refuge for women, turbulent waters. Visitors are only allowed by invitation. Women stay for 1 week, paying for their stay with a story from their past. Ooh, a declaration for the island's vast library. Okay, I think this actually might be more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Okay. So, yeah. I bought this originally for a reading vlog I was going to do on books that I bought from the Dollar Tree. And so I picked it up because it looked relatively interesting-ish, sort of. My house is making weird noises. But really didn't, like, fully read the back. I kind of just bought it because I like the cover, I think. I'm pretty sure. It's been a while. But we're going to read the first chapter now. Let's see how long the first chapter is. Oh, I think the first chapter is, like, really short. Okay. The first chapter is 3 pages. I know most people like short chapters, but 3 pages is a little excessive. I mean, I feel like it works for my purpose of this video. Kind of, sort of, but also not really. Short, so I'll get through it quick because I'm only reading the first chapter. But also, is that going to give me enough to go on? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's read these 3 pages. Okay. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. Apparently 3 pages was enough. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. So, our main character, Marianne, has received a summons, or kind of a, I don't know if it's not really a summons. I don't know if it's going to end up being more like a summons, but it's like an invitation to this island where only women reside, and women are invited to come for 1 week at a time, for like, I don't know what they do there, but they get to go for a week for free. But in exchange, they have to like tell their life story. That's what it seems like. They have to tell their life story, and it gets like documented and put into the library on the island. Marianne seems to be a librarian, or at least she works at a library. The letter was written by, we don't know if it was actually written by her, but signed the name of a woman who is dead. So how did she write this letter? Did she not write this letter? We don't know. And then at the end of the 3rd page, she's like contemplating whether or not she should go. Because she like never signed up for this. It was just, she knew about the island because her mom had gone to the island, but I don't think she like signed up for anything. She just like got this letter suddenly. I think that's what it seems like. From a dead woman. Also, I think her mother is either dead or missing, and it has something to do with her time on the island. And then at the end of the chapter, a man with a knife walks into the library that she's working at and makes a very disturbing statement. I'm intrigued. I am intrigued. It also has something to do with Greek epics. The Odyssey was mentioned already. So I have a feeling this might end up being some type of, I don't know, mystery / dark academia vibe-ish situation. There might be monsters. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see, but wow. Honestly, I did not think that 3 pages was going to intrigue me this much. So I think we're going to I think I'm going to put this in spot number 2, actually. We're going to do that right now. Sorry, little Piranesi. Putting you in number 2. Okay. Next is, also, sorry, if the angle is not that great, apologies. Also, the angle is not going to be changing. So, do with that information what you will. This is the next book. Through the Dark by Alexandra Bracken. I also don't remember what this one's about. Sounds creepy, though. Oh, is this like a... Are these like short stories? It says it contains 3 different... I think this might be a collection of 3 different short stories. Or maybe like 3 different, I don't know, books. In time, there's the... I'm going to read the preface real quick because I think it's going to kind of explain to me what's going on here. Okay, so this is a series of 3 like novellas that take place in the same universe as a series she wrote prior. So, here's the thing. I could read these, and I probably don't need to know what... I probably don't need to read the other books to read these. I probably don't. However, I'm going to end up kicking myself if I read these and I like them and then I want to go back and read the other books. I'm going to be kicking myself for not reading them in order. And I know that sounds really dumb because these probably don't give any spoilers. But I don't know if we're going to be following any of the same characters. So I'm torn. Yeah, I think I'm going to read... Yeah, see, she says for the best reading, I recommend this order. The Dark Minds, In Time, Never Fade. Okay, so each one of these, there's 3 in here. Each one of these, like, novellas takes place after each one of the books in the trilogy. That's what I'm gathering here. So I can't read this. I need to read the trilogy first. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look up the first book in the trilogy, The Darkest Minds. I'm going to look it up in Libby and see if they have it available. Let's see. The Darkest Minds. Ooh, that's not how you spell that. The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. And look at that. It's available. So, ooh, do they not have the second one? That's going to be problematic. Oh, they do. They do. Okay. So, we are going to not read this one. This one's out of the running because I need to read The Darkest Minds first. I am not going to borrow it right now because I have the Beautiful Creatures series already downloaded, and like I have more slots because that's only 5. But you can only borrow books for 21 days. Is this like dependent on your library or something, or is that just like across Libby? Because I just downloaded this and I was like, ooh, yes, because I did not realize I had downloaded it previously. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna download it, and then I'm gonna go to my library and I'm gonna get a library card, and I just never did. And then I told my husband the other day, I was like, I want to go to the library and finally get a library card so that I can use Libby. And he's like, because, well, I didn't say because so I can use Libby. I was like, I want to go get a library card. He's like, oh, you mean you want to go to the library? I was like, I want to go to the library. He's like, oh, the one on base? And I was like, excuse me? Excuse me, sir. To be fair, he had told me that it existed, but I completely forgot. So that's on me. But I totally forgot. And then I was like, yeah, that's fine. We can go. But I really wanted to go get a library card so that I could use this app. And he's like, yeah, you can just use your military ID. The world of possibilities that has been opened to me. It's incredible. So now I have Libby. I've been looking at all the books. I've made quite an extensive wish list of books to read. So I'm just going to tag it in my to read list. And we're probably not going to get to this month, which really sucks. But I'm really glad that that preface was in there, so that I didn't start reading it and I was like, what's happening? So we are adding this first book to my to read list. And this sad little guy is going to get shelved. But that means we only have 2 more books to read the first chapter of. So I need to put more books up here apparently because they're just not staying up. So we're moving on to Mexican Gothic. And, that is cool. I did not even know that was in there. The inside cover art? What? I did not expect that to be in there because it's a paperback and I have actually never seen that in a paperback, but that's amazing. I love it. So let's find chapter 1, like 6 pages of praise. Amazing. Okay. Okay, found chapter Juan. We're going in. Why do they have to mention street tacos on the first page? No, I want tacos. Literally the only thing it takes for me to want tacos is for someone to mention tacos and for me to remember that tacos exist. And I want tacos. Anyway. I have a page and a half left and I'm like falling asleep. I'm so tired. Ugh, I hate this. I hate being tired. I wish I was a vampire and I never had to sleep. Anyway. Hopefully I can finish this. First chapter of Mexican Gothic is Red. Once again, I was falling asleep, but it's got nothing to do with the book. I just tired all the time, every day of my life. Intriguing. I am struggling to decide whether I want to put this in first place or not. I think I kind of want to. So, chapter 1. We have a young woman named Noemi. She has a cousin who married a man she barely knew and is now sending really creepy, cryptic letters claiming that her husband is poisoning her or someone is poisoning her. She says he. She doesn't actually say in the portion of the letter that they show you, it doesn't actually say specifically that she's claiming her husband is poisoning her. It just says he's poisoning me, so it's kind of inferred. But claiming someone's poisoning her, claiming that there's like ghosts and stuff. Why is some random person calling me? Claiming there's like ghosts and stuff and that the house, like something's wrong with the house. The house is like rotten and it smells like death and like it's really just really creepy. There's a part in there where she's like kind of sounds like she's losing her mind a little bit. Let's see, where is it? There we go. It says her cousin's name is Catalina. So it says, I am Catalina Tabota. I think that's how you say that. Tabota. I am Catalina Tabota. Catalina. Cata come out to play. That's creepy. So. Also, why? Stop calling me. Okay. So I think I am going to put this one in first place. Because a creepy haunted house, someone potentially trying to murder someone, and she has to go visit her cousin to try and suss out what's going on. See if her cousin needs some mental assistance or if her new husband really is trying to kill her. So this is going in first place. We've got one book left. Light Lark. This one was, I think, like a TikTok book. Like, the person who wrote this book had like made a TikTok saying, would you read a book that was like about this? And it was like a synopsis for this book. I think that's what happened. And then I'm pretty sure a publishing company approached her and was like, hey, you want to actually write that book? And she wrote it. I'm not really on TikTok, so I'm just guesstimating based on what I've heard that that's what happened. So I believe that this is a product of that. And from what I've seen, well, what I remember seeing when it first came out, it's not like I saw like a ton, but the reviews were not good. So, but I am curious about it because the concept sounds interesting. But here's the thing. I feel like I have really bad luck when I take recommendations from like the main book girlies and the main like book talk and booktube girlies, because here's the thing. The books that have been raved about the most that I have ended up reading, I have hated. A Quarter Silver Flames, hated. But that book is like all the book talk girlies like favorite book in that series. Hated it. Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, hated them. But they're, you know, favorites of the book talk girlies. So maybe if I read a book that people hated, actually there's a lot of people that like this now, I think. But if I read a book that people did not like, maybe I will like it, or maybe I'll just hate it even more. I don't know. But we're gonna read the first chapter and we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Oh, there's a prologue. How long is the prologue? Oh, the prologue is like 1 page. So I'll read the prologue and the first chapter. How long is the first chapter? Okay. It's pretty short. 7 pages. Chapter 1 is 7 pages. Okay. We're gonna get started. Okay, so I just read the prologue. I don't know that this actually makes any sense. And look, here's the thing. It's fantasy, obviously. So when you're reading fantasy and you're reading anything that's got magicalness or whatever, you have to suspend disbelief on a lot of things, but systems should still be based on logic. Do you know what I mean? And this just doesn't sound like it makes any sense. I'm just so confused on like, based on the, like, okay, so there's a prophecy. All of these like rulers are cursed. So there's 6 rulers of 6 realms, and every 100 years they come together on a magical island that disappears every 100 years and only reappears for 100 days. And they like battle to the death, or like till one of the rulers dies, or like one of their champions dies or something. I don't know. Because the prophecy says a ruling line has to come to an end, only then can history amend, like to break the curse. If a ruling line has to come to an end, that means you would assume that you'd have to kill off their bloodline, right? But then tell me why it makes any sense that their heirs are still alive. I don't know. Literally just read the prologue, but I'm just like, does that make any sense? I don't know. But also apparently there's a ruler on Lightlark. Lightlark is the island nation or whatever that disappears and reappears every 100 years. Also, I think it's kind of funny how let's see, let me find it. Okay, the new Sunling ruler and the king of Lightlark stayed on the island, while every other new ruler fled, taking some of their people with them. They formed the new lands, hundreds of miles away from each other and where the island was. So I guess they like made their new nations, like, it sounds like in a circle around this island where it's supposed to be. I don't know, there's no map. But I just think it's kind of funny how they wrote like hundreds of miles away from each other. Like, that's such a vast distance. I mean, hundreds of miles, like, I don't know. I guess if they have no way of traveling far, then it's far. But I don't know, I just find that kind of funny. Anyway, I'm going to read the first chapter now. The first chapter of... Oh my goodness, the first chapter of Lightlark is done, and this is the final book on my TBR. I feel like I have to read more to see if they kind of make it make sense. But so far it doesn't. But to be fair, I've only read the prologue and the first chapter. But it seems interesting enough. If they can make it make sense, then I'm in. But where to put it? That is the question. Honestly, I think I'm gonna put it after Bridgerton, because all of the other books in front of Bridgerton seem more interesting. And I also want to, like I said a million times, want to make sure I read Bridgerton this month. So this is going to go after Bridgerton. Before Through the Dark will stay there. All the ones that I've read, I've been putting over there. I would put that guy over there next to that guy. But... well, I'm not necessarily putting all the ones I've read. I'm putting all my books from my TBR when I'm done with them over there. Because not all of them are read because I just DNF'd Dreadful. But I was going to put that over there. But this could be a straggler at the end of the month. We'll see. It'll depend. It'll depend on if I get through all of the rest of the books in my TBR. If I get through all of the rest of the books in my TBR, I will return or I guess I don't have to return them. I will borrow the first book in the trilogy that happens before this. And I will read that, and then I will read the first story, and I'll yada yada. I don't think I'm going to have time for that, but I'm going to keep it there just in case I do. Because you never know. We'll see. But now that I DNF'd Dreadful, which I'm so happy about because I would have like wasted so much time reading that book out of some arbitrary obligation to read it just because I own it, even though I tried and I don't like it. It would have wasted so much time. And my husband was trying to convince me. So I'm reading another book on KU. What is it called? The Predator? It's called The Predator. I'm reading it because I read another book by that author that I loved. I read it on KU. I loved it so much. I went out and I bought the physical copy, and I went to go read this other series that she wrote, and I'm on the first book of the series, and to be fair, it is the first book she ever wrote. It is not written well. The second half of the book so far is written better than the first half, but the story still is just like not very captivating. It's gotten a little bit better. I think I've reached I've passed the 50% hump. So Hopefully I'll be able to get through it. But I was telling my husband about the book before, like when I was at like 40%, and I was just like, this book is not good. This book is not good. And he was like, you should just DNF it. And I was like, but I can't. I feel like I can't. And he's like, you're going to just waste time reading a book that you're not enjoying. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I was like, you're right. It doesn't make any sense. Probably should DNF it. But if I'm going to DNF any book, it's going to be dreadful. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. The next book I'm going to be reading is Mexican Gothic, and I'm very excited. Actually, I only intended to pick one book through this process. Like, I only intended this process to lead me to my next read, but I kind of like how it turned out to be, like, the order of my reads. It may not say that way, but I think reading them in order of interest is going to help me get through more books this month. So I like that. I like that it turned out that way. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Toodaloo.